You're watching the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Salah to settle it in front of the Kop.
Morning guys, welcome back to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. I hope you're doing well. Today marks the new era. I know it's not Gus walking around whilst I'm filming. He's now just got in bed, which is great stuff. But it's the first media press conference that both Arne Slot and sporting director Richard Hughes have done at Anfield. I am watching it live with you, so I'm going to react as it happens.
As Arne said,
right now,
open, we will always be
Richard Hughes has said, obviously, you know, they've had to speak a lot. You know, they had to finish their jobs at their respective clubs. And he said, we need to improve on the training pitch first and foremost, but with the window open, we will always look to be opportunistic. Tick, good sign.
Certainly as we go, we will look to do that. Contractual situations, I don't think would be fair for me to talk.
First question Richard Hughes was asked about is what happens to the contract situation when it comes to Virgil van Dijk, Trent, and he said it's not fair to talk about that right now.
Contractual situations, I don't think would be fair for me to talk about. I think these are private matters between the club.
Even Gus is excited in the background.
That
private matters, they need to be discussed with the players.
I have that Arne has about those situations and everyone else in the squad, that it is total commitment from the players.
Total commitment from the players, so that's good.
We're absolutely convinced that is the case.
And they are convinced that they don't need to pressure talk about the contracts at the minute. They're confirmed that the players are on board, pretty much, is what he's just said. Back to Arne.
I'm Martin from the press association. When Jurgen, parts of Jurgen's success.
A lot of talk about Jurgen here, which I don't think is
I'm just wondering
helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think.
Allow yourself to get Liverpool and get the City. What do you do to sort of integrate yourself with the club? And
he's been asked how will he integrate himself within the club, within the city.
And the City and the club.
Gus, you got to go to bed, bro.
You're
ruining my video.
But, the way I'm going to use my time in the upcoming weeks is, of course, to make the team in the best possible way and the players in the best possible way, for us to be ready for the first game. And it always helps if you get to know the city, but I think as a manager, and everybody knows, it helps even more if you win most of your games. So I think with Jurgen it was a combination of getting to know the city, getting to know the style of play the fans like, and I don't want to take words out of Richard's mouth, but I think one of the reasons why he came to me was that our playing style is not so much different. So we both like the fans.
Basically saying the playing style
and
is similar to Klopp.
That plays with a lot of energy. That plays good football.
He expects a lot of energy to play good football. That's what we expect as well. And that's what he's focused on most.
If we do that in the best
Gus,
possible
go
way,
to bed, please.
Will give me some time as well. And if I have time, I can then get to know the city.
If he's got time, he can get to know the city better.
It all starts with improving the team and winning as many games as we can.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to do it, isn't it? It's to win games. It's to get the people on your side. Naturally, then the rest of the crowd follow. But he's answered well so far.
Hi, Julia from BBC Radio Merseyside. Last season, due to a lot of injuries with senior players, we saw a lot of the younger members of the squad being used by
Good question. This from Julia. Julia Bold, BBC Radio Merseyside.
Like seeing that working with the younger members of the squad, bringing.
Basically, are you excited to work with the young players?
This season to play.
A lot of young players had opportunities last season. I like to see good players.
If they're old or young, that doesn't
They're old or
matter
young,
much, but,
doesn't matter.
It's always nice for a club and also nice for a team that young players come through the ranks. I think that's the way the right words to use. So that always gives energy into a club as well. So that they're not only the players that are brought in from other clubs, but also the players from.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't really care how old the player is. If they're good, they're good.
I agree with you.
In the end, it's about the quality.
So if they continue doing so, there will be a fair chance that they will play as well.
What would be the things you'll be focusing on first while being at this club, football-wise? What are the things you want to focus on?
I apologise if there's silence here because I'm listening and reviewing at the same time.
getting to know the people that work here, which I've done already, of course, getting to know the players.
Do you know what? There was a nice picture this morning that came out of Arne Slot with, I think it's 8 players that have reported for pre-season today. One of them is Nat Phillips, who we spoke about on Hot Topics. One of them is Fabio Carvalho. Will he get a chance?
Mainly as
So it was nice to see that picture.
Because I've seen a lot of games from them, I've seen a lot of training sessions, but I think you get to know them even better if you are there with them together. And then implement playing style, but it's not that we're going to change everything over here.
Okay, interesting. Not going to change anything or everything.
But we have to find ways to.
But you have to find ways to improve. A lot of talk about improving here.
I was off for a lot of weeks, so I had a lot of time to look where we can improve.
We've had time to look where we can improve.
Work with them.
Working with them.
Will actually get us an even better insight.
Okay.
In the improvements we have to make.
Good so far.
Just as a head coach as opposed to manager, how do you understand
Interesting question this from the Athletic.
transfers in terms of
How will he deal with being a head coach as opposed to a manager, working under the sporting director Richard Hughes?
For me, it's not a change.
He says for him it's not a change, and I think that was not a concern, but when we found out the structural building now of the new era at Liverpool, we did think, well, how is the head coach going to interact with the higher ups? How will he get what he wants on the pitch and off the pitch? And good, he said, yeah, listen, it's nothing I'm not used to before. This is the way that we had it at Feyenoord. If anything, this style of maybe superiority in terms of the head coach, the senior people at FSG, he's used to it at Feyenoord, so there's nothing to worry about there.
I know, because in Europe we work like this.
In Europe we work like this, he says.
My former clubs like this always. I think there are not many clubs in the world, maybe there are not even clubs in the world where there's one person that decides everything. So it's calibration, is that the right word to use? Calibration.
Collaboration.
Between people. I don't think there were many sports directors that bring players in that the manager or the head coach doesn't like, and it's the other way around. So, but it's not only the two of us. I think at a club like this, there are many more people that can bring.
Before Slot had 34 games in charge of SC Cambuur, followed by 58 at AZ Alkmaar. And then in the Netherlands, 242 games managed, 151 wins, 40 defeats, a win ratio of 62.4%, similar to Klopp at Liverpool.
Recent years, and I like to work like this.
But he says he likes to work like this. So again, any Liverpool fans doubting the structure, don't.
Was that something you had to mull over, or was that just your self-belief you wanted to take this on?
No, not at all actually. I think...
now he was asked, is replacing Jurgen Klopp something that he had to think long and hard about?
Get it both ways. You can look at it, yeah, there are big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to
also
fill,
look at it in a way
but also look at it.
The squad and the team that has a.
But you've inherited a winning
culture.
culture.
And one of the reasons to come here, and there are always more reasons for this, but one of the reasons is that I do feel we have a real good team, real good squad.
Feels we've got a really good squad, which we do.
I think as a manager,
Which I don't think
you
there's
want to
many
work
changes needed.
at a club where there are good players with the opportunity to win something, and the past has shown that there's a possibility for Liverpool to win some trophies. So yeah, I think you can look at it a way to be the successor of someone who's really successful, but that's maybe, I look at it in a way that is ideal because there is an opportunity to win something. And
he's not really daunted by the fact that Jurgen Klopp was so successful. He's excited to carry on that success.
I like to work with players, I like to develop them, but I like to win as well.
He likes
There's
to
an
win.
opportunity at this club to win. So.
He's got a big smile on his face. He likes to win. We like to win. We are the most successful team in England, don't forget.
May, the final game, you've also spoken with him. Was there one piece of advice or one thing that he said to you?
Did Klopp give you any
about
advice?
that has stood out to you?
We've spoken about many things, but I think it's not more than normal that the things we've spoken about that stays between us.
Yeah,
So,
I like that. Didn't really give away what he's been speaking about with Jurgen Klopp.
singing
A lot of
was
questions about
special
Klopp.
because,
He says the singing was special.
I don't think many.
I don't think many
there are not
managers have ever done this.
Where the fans sing for is that maybe not the best English to use, but I was fortunate enough that after a few years at Feyenoord they start to sing for me. But now coming over here without even worked here yet, without winning.
He's saying at Feyenoord after a few years they started singing his name, and before he's even started the Liverpool job, we're singing his name.
a game, already fans singing for you. That's a good start.
Good start. It is a good start. Jurgen, that was a master move by you.
Really kind of engrossed in the Premier League. How much are you looking forward to that challenge as well, taking on the likes of Pep?
How much are you looking forward to taking on the likes of Pep?
Something to look forward to, but I think there are many more good managers in this league, which is
I like that.
Because
something to look forward to, but there are many good managers in the league.
English people like to believe that's the best league in the world, and I believe this as well.
Best league in the world, he says.
So it's normal that if you work it's such a league, there are many good managers, and I think it was last time when I had the interviews with Liverpool. I'm lucky enough that I lived in an era where I could see the Barcelona team. It's one thing we have in common. But when he left, when Pep left over there came a new era, and that was the rivalry between Liverpool and City. So I've seen a lot of that rivalry.
Mm-hmm. He likes the rivalry. I've watched the games.
I'm looking forward to work here, but not specifically playing against Man City, because there are many.
Yeah, that's a nice answer, because they basically tried to ignite some kind of rivalry between Slot and Pep now already, before any games have even started. And he's saying, look, I've watched Pep, I've been a fan of his, but there's a lot of other good managers that I'm also looking forward to playing against.
Nice.
Goes back to Richard. I don't think we've ever, maybe apart from when Rick Parry was the chairman and he had a press conference with Stevie Gerrard saying that he was going to stay. This press conference setup here is something that we might have to get used to. Richard Hughes obviously involved, right next to the manager, and again, cool to see, progressive, but again, might take some getting used to. I don't really like the Klopp questions though, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so that philosophy, that playing style that attracted us to Arne.
But obviously Richard Hughes, as the sporting director, is happy to see the similarities in the playing styles between Klopp and Arne Slot.
Is based on subjective footballing opinion and data as well, as you'd expect. And in all the metrics...
Weird accent, Richard Hughes. I know he's Scottish.
Arne's final team come out really well.
But it's subtle,
the way
I like
he played
it.
with a real front foot, attacking football, played with intelligence, played with passion, and attributes that we would welcome here at us.
Playing style there is, for example.
Playing style questions, obviously very important.
Yeah, I think it depends on...
Saying it's driven on subjective football opinions, but also data, as we know, is very important at Liverpool now these days.
That you have. I think it depends on the players that you have, the players that you would like to recruit. I think this way of playing, this style of playing that Arne has obviously been very successful with is the most attractive to watch, in my opinion.
He said most attractive to watch, in his opinion.
But I believe it will be so in the opinion of the football fans, and that's the most important thing. I think it is a duty here to play that type of football where you're trying to...
There's a duty
by the scruff of the neck.
At Liverpool where you're trying to grab games by the scruff of the neck. I like that.
I don't think that's how every Liverpool team that I've seen in recent memory has done that. As Arne said, it's not going to be a hugely different approach.
It's not going to be a hugely different approach.
Hunger you felt in these conversations for them to keep performing in Liverpool and keep winning trophies here?
I think in general, every top player wants to win. And I assume...
Let us know in the comments how you're reacting to this, guys. If you are watching this, do you feel, and it's all about feelings of fans, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel happy? Do you feel excited? What are the outstanding emotions that you guys have right now? For me, it's excitement. I was on TalkSport last night and I was asked, am I nervous for the new season? And I said, nervous isn't the word I would use. I would use excitement. I've not had or heard any bad things about Arne Slot so far. So again, it's excitement. It's a new era.
Euros, I assume, and I'm hoping Virgil first wants to win the Euros.
He's hoping that Virgil wants to win the Euros as Netherlands captain. Gets a little laugh there from the Dutch media that are in the press conference.
And then when he comes back after he enjoyed a few days of his holidays, he will come back and all these players want to win.
Yeah, I like that.
They have the hunger to win. If you don't have that, you're not playing for a club like Liverpool. So
got to have the hunger to win. Otherwise, what are you doing playing for a club like Liverpool?
I did, yeah.
Did you still
He's spoken to Virgil.
No, well, I'm hoping he will step up a bit even more, especially in the quarterfinal, in the semi-final.
First the quarterfinals,
Yeah, first quarterfinals. Yeah, hoping to see them playing the England.
He wants to see a Netherlands versus England
National team in the semi-final.
semi-final.
Hoping and expecting them to do even better. No, Cody has a very good tournament.
And Cody.
Like his last one, World Cup was really good for him as well. He's been impressive till now.
I'm in a WhatsApp group with some Liverpool fans, and immediately, again, I'm not going to say their names, but one of the people in the WhatsApp group that I'm in, as we're all reacting to this live as it happens, said, don't think we could be set up. I'll start again. Don't think we could be set up better post Klopp, though, with what was out there, Edwards and Hughes included. Hopefully, but Arne Slot is a bit underwhelming. Maybe we're used to a larger life character. Anyway, here's hoping up the Reds.
Continue doing so in the upcoming.
And again, look, it's a lot of comparisons back to Jurgen.
Yeah,
there always will be.
Feeling that has nothing to do with who've worked here before. I think as a manager, you go to bed at night and you think about what you're going to do and what you're going to tell the players every day. That's not only before your first day. That's during your whole period where you work. So it's people tend to look at us and think we're only thinking about the tactic board, which we do a lot as well. But it's also about convincing players and the way to talk to them. So for me, that has nothing to do with being the successor of Jurgen. That is something that's part of the job. That you think about, okay, how can I get the best out of the players? What way do I have to approach them as an individual or as a team? So for me, that's not something. I have Jurgen in mind. What would he say? No, that's not the way I look at it, but it is
interesting. Again, a lot of questions here about Jurgen Klopp, which you'd expect, but a little bit more than I would expect, actually. Okay. He's saying, look, what would I do when I go to bed at night? I'm trying to think how to improve the team. I don't think what would Jurgen do. He doesn't think like that.
Get to know the players.
He wants to get to know the players, the best way to approach.
You mentioned before about the
back to Richard Hughes now.
Contracts. In general,
again, another contract question. Let's see how he deals with this.
Very quiet in the Premier League in transfer terms, apart from that flurry of activity at the back end of last week, which Liverpool seemed to end up getting involved with by someone offering you a player.
Oh, he's being asked about Newcastle, Anthony Gordon.
Do you think that will change as we get nearer the transfer window deadline? Or do you think there is not a lot of money for any team at the moment?
It's hard to say, and speak industry-wide. I think naturally when there are major competitions during the summer, a World Cup or a European Championships, in this case,
will be interesting.
And the Olympics as well. So there's a lot of football being played, and naturally the attention is going to be there. And I think that after the flurry that there was in June, I think it'll calm down a little bit now. Would be my prediction.
Richard Hughes now saying that the transfer window will calm down a little bit
for the month of July.
For the month of July.
Like always, when August starts and coaches have had a more time to work with players, I think then the opinions will be more set, I think, at football clubs, and then you may see a situation in August.
Arne Slot also reveals that a couple more additions to his backroom staff at Liverpool will be announced shortly. Interesting, that.
Like in previous seasons, there's a little bit of
very interesting. Who else is coming through the door?
Everyone's squads in order. I don't think this will be any different. Who knows what will transpire economically? It's hard to say and speak for other clubs, but that was probably the case in June and why situations grew as they did. But I'd see a quiet July and perhaps a crescendo in August would probably await us all.
John. Sorry. It's John Gibbons from the Anfield Wrap. I'm just wondering whether you've been to Anfield yet and how much of a factor managing or the idea of managing.
John Gibbons from the Anfield Wrap there.
The Anfield crowd was in your decision to come to.
I should be there, to be honest.
I've been there.
Saying he's been to Anfield twice.
They are special in the league in Holland, so everybody would tell you that thanks to the team to a lot of enthusiasm.
Chris Page, Redman TV.
Chris.
I speak to fans every single day, and the dominating conversation right now is your preferred system. Obviously, we've seen it Feyenoord a lot, 4-2-3-1. At Liverpool, we're
Chris, good question. It's asking what the formation will be at Liverpool.
Players and tailor your systems to the players at your disposal.
I'm a bit sad is maybe not the right word, but I was hoping if people looked at my team, they would not say it's 4-2-3-1 or it's 4-3-3 or it's whatever formation you want to call it. I was hoping they would say, okay, there's a lot of freedom when they have the ball to take in
A lot of freedom when they have the ball.
different positions, so some free. So there's a lot of freedom when we have the ball. Freedom. But if we don't have the ball, there's not so much freedom. Then we want to be really aggressive, and there's only
When we don't have the ball, this is what I like to like. When we don't have the, this is what I like to hear. Sorry. When we don't have the ball, we have to be very aggressive. When we're in possession, there's a lot of freedom.
one way, and that's everybody is mostly keeps his position. So
I'm interested in that though. He says mostly players in their position keep their position.
I wouldn't put
Maybe
myself
that's
in a situation
a little reference there to Trent.
where I say I prefer 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3.
He's not really going to be pinned down to saying what his preferred formation is.
1-4-1. There's a lot of players taking in a lot of different positions. So if you would have asked me, I would have said we play 4-3-3 instead of 4-2-3-1 is fine.
4-3-3 he says we play.
We did build up a lot of times with 3. Fullbacks have different roles, so I'm curious who told you that we played 4-2-3-1. Maybe that one should go to get his license or analyze a bit better.
He's saying those who believe he plays a 4-2-3-1 need to analyse a little bit better. That's what we've kind of been thinking though. That he does play in that way.
I just wonder if you can tell us a little bit about the backroom staff that you put together and what they will bring to the table.
The backroom staff will be announced very shortly. Again, interested to see who else will come in.
In my opinion, the best British sporting director to date.
Oh, Richard Hughes saying Michael Edwards, the best British sporting director to date.
So the decision to come to Liverpool was obviously one that I was humbled by and delighted to take, but it was the people that I'll be working with as well made it extra special.
Interesting from Hughes there.
Conversations, again, daily. At the minute,
Daily conversations.
Happened from quite a way out because there was a fair bit to do.
And again, this is, you know, the first time that Richard Hughes has spoken to the media. He's going to get the questions about contracts. He's going to get the questions about communications between the new staff. This is the honeymoon period, don't forget. So maybe if he does get involved in more press conferences in the future, he becomes a little bit spikier.
On his appointment being the most important thing to do, to get right. And since then, it's been a little bit more sort of, again, like with Arnie, logistics and conversations that forward planning. But yeah, very much looking forward to working with Michael and the ownership group as a whole.
Yeah, Richard says very much looking forward to working with Michael and everyone else as a whole.
And I think he wants it himself, and from there on we can only build.
Theo Squires, Liverpool Echo. Over here during the Euros, there's mostly been plenty of debate about Trent's best position. Whether
Trent's best position. Here we go.
In the Netherlands, you'll get the same with Cody Gakpo, whether he should be a striker or a left winger.
And Gakpo.
We've seen them in very specific positions here. If you had an idea about where you might see their roles or what you think about their best positions playing for the Euros.
Good question.
I don't have an opinion about what their best position
He doesn't have an opinion on where their best position is yet.
Their countries, because
For their countries.
Some other players you have as well. You cannot judge a player on his own. It's always a team effort. But I do have my opinion about where they're going to play.
He does have an opinion as to where he's going to play both of them. Here.
But if you don't mind, I'm going to talk to them.
But if you don't mind, I'm going to talk to them. I like that, you know. I like that from Slot. He's basically said, yeah, I've got my ideas, but if you think I'm telling you in my first press conference, you must be crazy.
About that first, and work with them first before telling it here.
And I think that's it. And there we go. 24 minutes I've been doing this video for, and I've seen enough. Again, nothing massive to take away from that. He's keeping his cards close to his chest, as you would assume. But at the same time, some nicely batted away questions from both Hughes and Slot there. I didn't know it would be both of them, so I was quite shocked and pleasantly surprised to see Richard Hughes in the press conference. But yeah, listen, the main takeaways are the contracts, they're private matters. What I like about the kind of similarities in both of their answers was very much we're going to deal with that, and you'll find out when you find out. Thank you very much. So I like the fact that they're trying to keep the contracts, the best positions in-house, and then speak to the players, and then it will be revealed to the rest of the world as well. Again, talking about the backroom staff that will be announced shortly, interested to see those. But now it's time for you to send your opinions into the chat right now. I've just sat here live and watched the first ever press conference between Richard Hughes and Arne Slot and the media. Hopefully I can get in these press conferences soon and, you know, ask my own questions as the Red Men did there. But yeah, now it's time for your opinion in the chat. How do you feel that first press conference went for Arne Slot? Let us know in the chat. Smash that like button, smash that comment button, give us your thoughts, and subscribe to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. Take care. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this, make sure you check out the rest of the channel too. There's other stuff you'll enjoy for sure.
Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the Kop TV,
the voice of football's most famous stand.
Come on.